For 21 years, Dr. Dick Eastman has been the international president of Every Home for Christ. It's taken him around the world more than 50 times to every continent. He also serves as president of America's National Prayer Committee. They plan the National Day of Prayer there, south of the border. Dick's the author of numerous best-selling books, including No Easy Road and The Hour That Changes the World. Some of you have read that. Well, now we have a compilation of remarkable true stories of lives across the globe being transformed by Jesus Christ. Look what God is doing. It's a pleasure to welcome from Colorado Springs, Dick Eastman.
Oh, it's a joy to be here. Joy to be back.
Nice to kind of get you in a little air pocket. A man who's always on the road, it seems.
Well, we do. You know, when you mentioned 50 times around the world, the other night laying in bed, I was actually adding up the miles, and it's over 110 times now.
You should probably get your tips on jet lag. You must be an expert.
No, God sustains us, but it gives us an opportunity to see what God's doing, and it's incredible.
I want to just read the opening sentence of the introduction here, On the Move. Make no mistake about it, God is moving by His Spirit globally in ways none of us could have comprehended even a decade or two ago. We are in an exciting time in history. Here in the West, we may be a little out of the loop, but you're seeing the evidence of this.
I think there's phenomenal things happening, and one thing you can't discount is the incredible increase of prayer and prayer movements that I think help lay a foundation for this. For example, right around the year 2001, the Global Day of Prayer began in South Africa with just one stadium. The next year, 6 or 7 stadiums full. The next year, all across Africa. And last year, my wife and I in June, well, it's on Pentecost Sunday every year, we're in Hong Kong, and helped actually participate in the origination through television and groups all over the world. They say maybe 250 million people praying at the same time. And you look at other 24/7 prayer movements that have risen up in the last decade, and like at Every Home for Christ, one statistic I like to refer to is we take the gospel literally home by home in all these countries, and we have response cards and way people can say, I've met Jesus, or I'd like to know more about Jesus, and these are responses. And that year we had 756,000 responses. We were excited about that. That's nearly a couple thousand or so a day. But listen to this: 756,000 in the year 2000. In 2009, we followed up with Bible courses over 12,800,000. That's I'm not great at math, but that's a big jump.
Well, the Bible says
what's happening.
If 2 or more agree as touching anything on earth, it'll be done for them. Yeah. 2 or more, and you're talking such a multiplicity of people praying in the will of God
and it's
for this
heaven.
Planet. Opening heaven. You know what's interesting? We are in a technological revolution. I can't keep up with, I email barely. You haven't really changed what you do in 60 years.
Yeah, that's, you're making me think of an advertisement maybe 10 years ago from Smith Barney, on finance, and they say we make money the old-fashioned way. We earn it. And what we do in Every Home for Christ is simply this. In the early church, when Jesus gave the Great Commission, go tell everybody. Go disciple the nations. That's a big assignment. Well, when you see the disciples, you can imagine them sitting down and saying, well, he said reach every, how are we going to know he did it? And the idea came, it's obvious in Acts, let's go right where they live and keep a record of where we've gone until we reach this area, until we reach that city, until we reach the rural areas. And so Every Home for Christ, actually, that's what we do. And now it actually is over 1,300,000,000 homes that have been visited in that way. And what I really believe this is that the way the Great Commission was started out is the way it will finally be finished, because in the most remote, very dark places, They won't have the computer access. They
No.
won't have the television or the radio, some not even radio. And so if they're going to hear, someone has to find out where they are, go to them, and give them the good news.
Habakkuk 2:14, that the earth will be filled with the knowledge of the glory of the Lord. It's a bigger earth than it was in the time of the disciples.
Oh, yeah.
Reaching every nation is a much bigger challenge. Church plants, 47 a day? Did I write that correctly?
Something is happening phenomenal. In our ministry, what happened in the earlier years, we would simply go, give people the good news, a repeatable message, we would say, because a year after you were there, 6 months, 3 months, they could pick it up and still read the good news that Jesus Christ saves. Well, then we started having people in villages come to Christ, sometimes in fairly good numbers. You might have 20 or 30 or 40 people respond in a village of, say, 1,000. What do you do with them? And there is not a church within 100 or 200 kilometers or 500 kilometers, whatever. So we started what's called Christ groups, bringing them together. Christ groups. They're baby churches. Well, now this is a part of the acceleration we're seeing right now. In the year 2007, so that's just a couple years ago, a few years ago, we planted, and I have this in my mind because I've been doing reports on this, 3,290. So 3,290 new churches, baby churches born in various parts of the world. 3,290. In the year 2008, it increased to 8,125. I just saw the report for 2009, and some are still coming in, but it was over 17,090. That's we've never
like
ever seen anything like, yeah, it's like sweeping. And I believe it is a part, to this rapidly growing prayer. There's an open heaven over many of these regions, and we are seeing signs and wonders everywhere.
How many employees? I wrote it down. 4,000 staff? 4,000?
Yeah, that's another thing.
Every Home for Christ?
We have 4,000 full-time and supported staff around the world. But this is another great number here. A year ago, I was doing a 6-month report, and we have reports come in every month from our field, from every operational nation. And we had 15,200 volunteers in addition to the full-time workers, 15,200 volunteer workers every month out in the field. This year, in the same 6-month period, it was over 27,000 a month.
Wow. People with a vision.
That's just what's happening.
You know, I had the joy and privilege of going to Fiji on my honeymoon, and my husband and I were both really hoping God would call us to the beaches of the Fiji. The Fijians are such beautiful people. Here you have a report. All 106 of Fiji's inhabited islands had been visited by Christian workers, village by village and home by home, resulting in more than 35,000 new converts and 700 small groups of new believers. The 2 Fijian evangelists responded to the challenge to branch out to other remote places throughout the estimated 23,000 inhabited islands in the Pacific. I mean, Jesus said the whole world, and this ministry is taking it very seriously, down to the last little Fijian island. How much is left in terms of reaching every hidden people group, all the unreached places?